All right, it is the 26th of September. Oh, they're 3 months old today.
Oh,
That's
wow.
right. Yeah. And this is Quantum Burst, although we've been doing babies, so you know how it goes. All right, so check in. Who's doing what? How are you? How's your week been? What did you notice after our last session last week? Anything in particular? It was pretty profound, as I recall. Nada.
Yeah, I'll just start about I remember how profound that was and how wonderful, and even the next day it was resonating, and honestly I don't even remember it anymore. There's so much has happened between now and then. And I just feel like I'm sort of been scattered all over. So
Well,
that's my
it was great to see you at church. That was really special.
it was fun, and I really liked the church. I really everybody I met was really nice. It was such a nice feeling to be in that environment again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had the same experience. I really liked them.
Yeah.
All right, next.
Okay, I'm not sure where this will go, but I was looking at the notes before we got on, and realizing the overriding had been about connectivity and alignment. Were some of the words that stood out, and that it all about, being grounded, lifting energy. I mean, it sounds like the same things that we always talk about, but it was very profound with the gems that were picked. And all I know is, okay, last night for the first night, and I can remember, I don't remember how long. Now I don't go to bed early, it's like 11:30 or so, but I did not get up one time during the night, which is impossible whenever you have to pee as often as I do, but or I wake up uncomfortable and I'm achy, and then I have to go to the bathroom. Did not get up at all. Don't even remember turning and having this sensation like, oh God, I got to shift and get comfortable. None of that. I mean, I was just gone. And that we get up at 5:30, so it's not like an 8-hour stretch, but a solid 5 hours for me is like a gift. So I told Steve, I said, I just woke up not feeling tired as soon as I got up, which was so refreshing. And I don't want to let those moments get away. So I'll probably post something so a year from now, when I'm marveling at how whiny I feel I am now, I'll go, oh, it just took until then. And I'm have to stay, talking about the physical. I told Steve, I said, it seems like when I have this healing of bone or something going on, it's like I almost get to a limit of where it just feels like nothing is moving, and it's all stagnant and it's not happening. And as soon as I just accept that, I mean, seriously, accept it and just go, it is what it is. And I even had the thought that says, what if this is the best it's going to be? Knowing it could be somebody else's fabulous day, but what if for me this is the best it's going to be? And sort of, I have to get to that point before I can really deeply release something, and then I get breakthrough moments. Like yesterday, I walked almost entirely. I didn't need my cane out. I use it outside. But I had started using it in the house again. And it's like, what's that about? Because it just hurt. My knees hurt, my leg hurt. It's like when one thing is out of kilter, it goes all the way down your leg, from your back all the way down. It never just wants to stay in that spot. It takes your whole being, and things feel twisted. Well, I just, all of a sudden, I was like moving without it. And today I was better without it. And, enough that so there's a little space for that next thought that says, so what if? So, and not making the what if go any place other than, so what if? Not trying to orchestrate it, just allowing that little space for it to move, grow. We always expect it, but not orchestrating it. So that's kind of where I am right now. I get weary that the physical is so mind. It just takes so much energy. But rested in what if is today.
Okay, very good. Very good.
Okay, so sometimes I just put pressure on myself to come up with something profound, like the earth moved but there's nothing really that I can attribute today that is, I'm just kind of in this neutral space where it's okay. I mean, it's okay. It is okay, and that's a good thing. It's not like a default setting, if you will. It's just good. So there's that. Nancy and I went and looked at a seniors apartment complex this weekend. That was kind of fun. We, amenities just, pouring out of the pores of this place, swimming pools, no pickleball, but I
Forget it
know,
then.
I know, kind of, yeah. So, and I've often wondered, just being in a place like that, which is quite frankly a luxurious place. It was not I guess I had some sort of old image of what that might be, and it's not that at all. And I think my inner self had been saying all along that places like that. And when you go there, you're just retired. You're just retired to go off to the pasture somewhere and be forgotten about or whatever. But it didn't feel like that, so that's not the place we're going to be. But it was good to look at some alternatives, I think, just open my mind to what's out there. So I think that's it.
I think it's great that you went and looked and allowed your mind to be like, oh, that's different than I thought. That's awesome.
Right.
Well, I don't know what to say about last week because it feels like a million years ago. So I didn't have my notes to check. So it was very profound, though. I really do remember that. So let me think. I had a several day, 2 or 3 day episode with one of my sisters this week where she decided to begin the verbal attack again. It's been going on. And so at first I did what I used to do, and I tried to explain to her, this is why, this is it. And I tried, and then bam, then I tried again. And then at some point I thought, why am I trying to explain? Because she's never going to care or get it. She's never, it's because it's just her. That's how she always is. So finally I said, Amy, just let it go. And then, oh my God, you thought the world ended because I didn't answer anymore. I said, I'm done. I'm done. Then she pulled out the really big guns and she's like, I know you raised us as children when you were just a child yourself, and you should never have had to do that, and blah, 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 blah. And I never would want to hurt you, my lovely, beautiful sister. I mean, on and on. And I just didn't answer. I just left it. And I thought, you know what? Why am I doing this? It's because, of course, have always had such feelings for her. I did raise her pretty much. But I don't know why I've always let myself be beat up, you know, and so I'm kind of done, and I don't feel guilty about it. I don't feel terrible about it. I know she's fine. I know she'll probably find someone else to have some drama with, but guess what? It's not going to be me. So I'm amazed that I'm fine with that and that I don't feel like terrible. Amy's suffering. And I'm like, no, Amy is suffering. Amy suffers a lot. That does make me sad. But Amy chooses still to suffer until she doesn't choose to suffer. She's going to suffer. So I do have to still deal with her a little bit on the wedding shower thing, but I simply answer the wedding shower questions. And when she tries to send a zinger at me, I just duck. I learned this at the convent early on. Well, not early on enough, but when they'd send a zinger, I used to pretend to duck, and then it would go right over me, and then I didn't get hit. So I've been ducking, and I'm amazed that I'm fine. You know, I was gonna say I wish I hadn't tried to help her understand at the very beginning, but that was an old pattern that I needed to see not to bother to do.
Yeah.
Because it's not worth it. It's like that thing I put on Why Hand or the Straw. I put that on Facebook. I'm like, why did I do that? You know, I told her immediately, fine, I understand, done. And then, oh my God, you know, off it went. And anyway, done with that. Feel great about not getting sucked in. And I'm okay that she is currently choosing to not be okay. Because that's not about me. Nothing I can do about that. So, and I am no longer the older sister raising the little kids. You know, she is in her late 50s. She's a big girl. And amazingly, that feels okay.
Yeah,
And
beautiful.
boy, am I going to lose a lot less energy from that from now on. So very grateful for that.
Brilliant. Yeah. I don't have very much to say other than babies, 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 babies. But it was great. And I think the very best thing of all of it is just witnessing to my son, who was, he was such a mess. I mean, not that long ago, he was a mess. And he's a good man and he's a good dad. And he was so appreciative of me. And he's like, Mom, why don't you just stay? And when can you come back? And we really appreciate it. Thank you so much. I mean, not overboard, but I mean, it was just so heart. And I was ready to come home after a weekend with them. I mean, 10 days really, but and I had a great time in Wimberley. And that's sort of interesting, curiously there. So what do you want to say about that, Steve? I could feel you.
Come on down.
I don't know. I don't know. There's a big process happening in and through and around me and possibilities, and I don't know what. They're not interested in temporary. So there's that. And yeah, so I'll keep you posted if there's anything to post you about.
Hey, can I add one more thing?
Of course.
I just want to say, I'm not even thinking this out. It's just playing through my mind. I just wanted to share, you know, when you have generational healing going on in your families, and Kate's talking about hers and yours, and Tyler, for God's sake, I mean, that how far that's it's always been love. It's mom, son, but he's engaged. He's engaged in a way we understand. And I wanted to just say this. I was talking to my daughter this week, and you know, Strider has the lead in his senior play that's in November. It's the biggest male role, and he's not connecting with it. He's having trouble. It's playing a grandfather. It's a 1946 Capra movie. You can't take it with you. Well, they finally watched the original version the other night, so he has more of an England, but he wasn't getting it, and he's starting to. He has anxiety, and they've had to learn to deal with it. So anyway, he's having his moments, and And she said, Mom, I finally just sat down with him and I was so, she said, I was so proud of myself. Because part of me, I listened to him, and part of me wanted to say, look, you signed up for this, you've made the commitment. You got to see this one through. And when you're done, then you go from there. But you got it. And she said, but I didn't do that. I stopped and I said to him, okay, let's just process it. What if you pulled out now and told him you didn't think you could do the work? What if you did that? And she did a lot of what ifs that, and I'm sitting there going, oh my God, none of the things that I would have said to her, and certainly nothing my mom would have said to me, because it's, you sign up, you show up, there's just, and part of my programming was going, okay, oh, is she letting him off the hook? Oh, wow, because you made a commitment. But she said, this is what she said later. She says, I was so dang proud of myself, and I don't know who was talking through my lips, but I just was present with that kid and let him process it out and said, what if you did this, and what kind of conversations would you have? And she just walked him all the way down the line without dumping any shoulda, oughta, you got to do it. And they finally reached the point where he's, of course he's going to do it. And she says, you know what? You're going to find out if this is really something that you want to do beyond high school. You're going to find out a lot about yourself in this. But what I heard was such layers of generational healing, of being listened to, not buying into, whatever, and not buying into his, even giving credence to not feeling up to. She let him process it, and they got done. And she said, I didn't know which way the decision was going to go. And, and he's going to stick it out and hang in there and give it his best shot. But amen for generational healing. Okay.
And how beautifully brilliant, because he came to the decision, not because she told him to. That's brilliant. Yeah. All right. So, what do we want to, is there a theme moving through us today? Is it where do you want to, what do you want to focus on today? Do you have a sense or a thought?
I'm going to say a word, and I know what it means to be. It can mean a whole lot of things, and it's circulation. And circulation for me, it's a lot of part of it's blood flow and energy to a healing, because when a part of you is not healing, oftentimes there's damaged. There could be blood vessels and things that are have been hurt in the process of somebody trying to heal you, and they're not circulating blood. But it's even beyond, even just really beyond my body. It's about, I don't know how to say it. It's about life circulating through every part and vein. Life meaning inspiration of what, anyway, but circulation's playing around me.
Okay. Yeah, there's so many layers to that. Yeah. How's that land with the rest of you, Linda?
It does land for me. My process is the thing about I'm just really exhausted. I've just been doing so many things, and mostly for other people or animals. And so I feel like I'm torn in a lot of ways, but so the concept of circulation really resonates in coming back to me, and just letting things flow and letting things go, as well as absorbing more that does work. And so I like it.
Okay. All right. So circulation sounds like one of the bioenergetics to me. I think circulation is in one of the bioenergetics. I wonder if we can find out which one. Just unless there's something else that you want to take a look at. Oh, circulation is in Biogenic Harmony 1. So does that give us a start point? All right. So feeling, I love how you said that it's so many layers of circulation. What I was thinking about when is the energetic circulation, but then also when Linda said what she said, it's like, oh, there's this also this like this flow of giving and receiving. Like if we don't receive, we got nothing else to give. And when we get overgive, we get depleted. So there's that. There's the circulation in receiving the new, but shedding the old. You know, there's lots of the shedding of the old, that generational, that familial. Why do I do that? So there's all kinds of that. So as we play with circulation, let that open up in whatever way is being called to open up. So all is well. It is done because we continue to quantum leap our world, ourselves, our bodies in miraculous outcomes as we focus on the ideas or the concepts or the insights of circulation. Scan it. All right, so the ones that come up inside Bioenergetic Harmony 1 is defense, shiver, circulation, sensitivity, and the last one is a new name. It's called For Mature Women. I don't know if that used to be maybe menopause. I don't know. Maybe it'll give you some more energy, Steve, to be supported by all the mature women around you.
There you go.
All right, so
Hey,
let's, oh, go ahead.
Could you just repeat again that I got caught up on spelling shiver and I missed the next one.
Circulation
Circulation.
and sensitivity.
Is there any definition around any of
No,
those?
no, nothing at all.
Like I don't get shiver.
Oh, shiver. Well, shiver is a relatively new name for what used to be colds. So it's really good for like when you're getting a cold. Like I run shiver if I feel like I'm getting a cold.
Hmm.
And I run sensitivity if I feel like I got allergies.
Gotcha.
And those were like original words. And then they keep obviously changing program names. So
Hmm. Okay.
yeah. So let's just run them and see, just open to receive and see where we go. So the idea of circulation, however that's landing for you, all is well. It is done. We're set for the 6 minutes, and here we go. Take a breath. Notice what you're noticing. And when you're ready, open your eyes. How was that?
Well, there was lots of spirals in what I was experiencing in different ways. I mean, there didn't seem to be a progression from one scenario to the next, but except for the fact that things were spiraling. And one was like, oh, I don't know, maybe the A-frame legs of this old swing set, but they were like colored, maybe wrapped in paper mache or ribbons or something. I don't know what it was, but they're multicolored. And this was, kind of amazed at watching the spirals of color on the A-frame legs that would go down. Next thing I know, I'm in a seaplane. I think I'm flying it, and it's also going in circles. And I'm looking down at a little lake as I, do slow circles over it and around the lake, and was also aware of spiral of breath, from gut to top of the lungs, going on during all of that. So, and all the spirals going this way, spirals going this way, and I was kind of in the middle. So there was lots of circulation going on,
Yeah,
energy moving from place to place in different ways, in different modalities. That's all.
cool.
Well, I started thinking about circulation and flow, and we have I keep trying to figure out what's wrong with our freezer. We have a bottom freezer refrigerator on top of it, and the last couple months we've been getting a sheet of ice on the bottom of the freezer, and then it starts inside, and then it starts to drip out, and I keep trying to figure this out, and I think I figured it out today through some stuff I saw on YouTube. So I think there's a drain thing that gets clogged and then it won't go out. So today, picture this, I'm in there with this pineapple core thing, trying to beat on the ice through the crack through this thing, and then take the Swiffer and get it in and pull the ice out because we don't want it to melt and drip on the floor while we're gone tomorrow to see my friend Agnes and sit and ruin the floor while we're gone. So I started out with my head seeing this clogged thing. And then I went to this book that we used to read. I used to read it to my little brother all the time. It was a Dr. Seuss book called McGilligan's Pool. It was by far his favorite book. And we'd had it through all of us. And it's this guy that goes fishing in McGilligan's Pool. And it's got like a little pool. And it's got like a can in the bottom of it and junk. And it's like you never know what you'll find because at the bottom of this pool, there's a little tiny stream that then goes underground. And it travels and you go through all these different kind of fish. And there's these little Eskimo fish that are dressed up like little Eskimos, and there's little fish that are dressed up like little Chinamen. And anyway, so it's this whole adventure that's down this tiny little thing. And that has become a banned book because of the Chinese fish and the Eskimo fish. So I did call my niece and I said, hang on to that, it's banned. So they won't be producing it anymore at Dr. Seuss. But so I found myself going down into the pool and down the little thing, down the little trail. And at first I was kind of had to swim hard to move. And then I kept seeing like obstacles. And then I'm like, just ignore the obstacles, just pretend it's all going to be fine. So I just kept going. And now pretty soon I was floating through this little thing without having to even swim. And I came out into this great big place, which I'm assuming was the ocean because all waters lead to the ocean. And the cool thing about it was I did not have to come up for air.
Ah,
I just stayed under there and floated around in the water and twirled around, and it was just lovely and peaceful, and there was no need to pause to take a break to gather air because apparently I could breathe underwater. So it was just kind of an interesting little journey, and that's what I did.
okay, awesome. Do you hear
That sounds-
background noise in my house?
Little. Didn't notice it before.
It just started.
Yeah, I just started.
My husband's learning the trumpet and he chose just now to practice. Anyway, sorry, didn't mean to interrupt you, Linda, please.
It's okay. All part of the circulation.
I'll mute when I'm not talking.
um, well, for me, there was, I kept noticing it was how my thoughts would come in, and I'm still remembering things that I haven't done yet today, and things that somebody was supposed to get back to that I didn't talk to yet, and that kind of stuff was up around it. But at the end, it was what I ended up coming to was like, oh yeah, breathe, and oh yeah, breathe and relax and just so what was that? And then it's not funny, I had this until just this moment. Oh, it's about being present. See, I went out and did all those other things, and it's just being present. It's just be here and this is all fine, just stay here. Just like, that was me.
I going in, I was a little bit unsettled because I couldn't really resonate with most of the description, the words that came out of it, except for the one that, of course, I was working on. I just, just to scan them for energy, I just wasn't feeling any connection. I thought, well, that's interesting. Well, let's just go with what you're talking about. And part of it was that I just got into what kept close to home, what circulation within the body would feel like, whether it's blood vessels or just circuitry, where these little electrical units and lymph flow up and down the legs. And I found myself just scanning to see if there was any particular place that needed attention other than obviously, right. And then what started to come out of, and it didn't stay in the head, it just kind of went out and around, and I felt like circulation throughout my experience of existence. But I kept saying our mantra over and over, and I realized I haven't been saying it lately. I haven't. It was autopilot for a while, and then it stopped being autopilot. And I have to remind myself to say it. And I thought, oh, now that's interesting. When did that happen? So I really got back into it. And what I started to feel, was, for me, circulation, the next word that came up was, out of all of that, was plentiful. And then, and because I put out, fall decorations a week or so ago, I felt what's the cornucopia of the horn with all of the coming out of it, and it was huge, and I could feel everything flowing out of it. And it's not only was it plentiful, bountiful came up, And those felt very soothing. I wasn't conscious of thinking the word lack, but it dawned on me, I hadn't also been thinking about everything flowing and circulating and as it is and it needs to be. And I felt those words, and what I saw in that huge cornucopia was the words it ended with miraculous income flowing. Income, listen to me, miraculous outcome. I guess income would work too. Outcome flowing to me, through me, and from me, because you had talked about, to and within. And so I just sat in that for the last however long, and it felt so sweet. I had no big skylark or adventure. It was sweet. It was just sweet, soothing, and everything was moving flowing as it is designed to. That's how I felt. So
Very cool. For me, it was the essence of it. It took a while to kind of land into this image, but it was of a field being tilled. So like that which no longer served, right? That which we didn't utilize of the harvest is being tilled. That becomes the fodder and the fertilizer and the really foundation for the next. So there was this kind of playing with that generational thing, and what Kate was sharing too. It's like, oh, when you let go of that, it gets tilled into the soil of our consciousness, and we utilize the gifts out of it even as it's transcended and transformed. It was like that. There was also a piece of related a little bit to what Steve said, like the excavating of the beliefs that we don't need anymore. Like, why do we believe what we believe? Well, who knows? But just because you believe it, but we don't even know what we believe until we start to see something else. So then that kind of came into that whole excavating, tilling, circulation of all of that. And then all of that just opened up into this spaciousness of new. So that was kind of cool. All right. Oh, look how good we're doing time-wise too. I'm going to go ahead and mute too, because it's quiet for a moment, but doesn't mean it will stay that way. So hopefully I'll remember to unmute. All right. So everything that everybody said, right? Working with that as the foundation of whatever circulation yet wants to show us. So we'll go for about 3 minutes, 2:49, 3 minutes. And here we go. Take a breath. Notice what you're noticing. Particularly notice how it's feeling right now. And when you're ready, open your eyes. And what did you notice? What do you notice? I'm wondering if I'm still muted, but I'm pretty sure I'm not.
This has been so quiet tonight with the meeting, so it's almost like there aren't a lot of words. I really have been just sitting in the energy of that bounty and abundance, and didn't know that that would be what would be calling me to be there, and in that feeling again that flow through, if if a place is stiff or aches, and not trying to make it be fixed or make it be anything it's not, but making sure the energy is flowing. And at the same time, this has been a day of doorbell ringing and knocks, because every roofer in our area must be going around to different houses after our hailstorm. So it went off, during our session, and I just blessed them. And I said, well, there's certainly a plentiful group of those out today too, aren't there? But this just felt very, how can I say, soothing and sweet are not words I use a lot, but soothing and sweet.
And I'm really drawn to your word of bounty and plentiful. Like that feels really, really big in this energy field to me. Yeah. Cool.
The energy of tilling the soil and watching, it was reaping the bounty and then tilling the soil and getting more from what we've let go of, and letting it grow and enrich and come up and be more. That's really where I was exploring, and my mind was just going around with that. I'm feeling much more of the space. That was the other thing, was that the experience was much more spaciousness being allowed, and so more bounty. I didn't use that word, but I like that word, bounty.
Very cool.
I don't really have anything. I mean, it feels like it started and then it ended. And I don't have a clue what happened between start and end. So I'm sure there was a great deal of bounty, though. I have no words for it.
Okay, cool.
I heard the same doorbell that Nancy heard, and it's sitting right up here on the other side of the wall from my office. So it's pretty bing bong. And I became aware of, I mean, you saw the construction that's going on at the end of our street, where they're building houses and excavating roads and all. And this is at the end of their day, and there was like, I can see the machine. It's like a big bulldozer or something with a shovel on the front end, and it just rattles and, sounds like, I don't know, like things are falling apart or crumbling or whatever, which they probably are because the things going through. But there was a lot of noise, and it was hard for me to move past it during the session, during the particular moment in time. But I'm sure there were things circulating.
That was me and the trumpet. For me, it was the circulation, the tilling became a dismantling of structure, like structure of belief or structure of knowing or structure, lots of structure being dismantled. It was almost as if it was in part, not entirely, but in part, it was around what we believe. Somehow I got caught into that. It's like, oh, why? What do I believe about my healing? What do I believe about my body? What do I believe about my space? What do I believe about myself? What do I? And like every time you see it, we see it, like it just dismantled, like just by naming it. And then it opened up this space. And then it was like that tilling still. And then there was another, oh, what do I believe about that? Oh, dismantle. I mean, it was no processing. There was no, it was so easy. It was like name it and it's gone. And then it was just continuing to enrich the field in our newness, in our new beingness, our new consciousness. It's very beautiful. All right. What else? Any other comments?
I think this is one of those, I don't know how to say it. For me, quieter is a word that comes in that is, I can already tell it's like it has more impact than sometimes the momentous ones or whatever, and that this is going to work underneath everything. So thank you. Thank you. And I think we needed the trumpet. I'd rather have that than the doorbell. Let me ponder that.
Yeah, and what is it you believe about that? I had to start believing. I knew that there was a trumpet in my house before I got home. I knew that that was going to happen. So I had to rework, and I'm just picturing it like if I had a grandchild in the house, of course I'd want them to practice. So I mean, I would. So I had to sort of get okay with it before I ever got home. But I think I don't know if this is the good news or the bad news, or maybe it's a belief I have about it that needs to be dismantled, but it appears to be about 5 minutes every hour or so, as opposed to like an hour long. So far, I mean, I haven't even been home 24 hours yet, so we'll see.
It's not it's not a saxophone.
No, it's a trumpet because
No,
yeah, it's not a saxophone. No, but it's a trumpet because Jada, who's 12, is learning trumpet. She's in band, so he wanted to keep up with her. So that's kind of cool. And I've been pushing. I said, you need a hobby, you need something to put your time and energy to. I just never even a million years dreamed it would be loud.
Mm.
That's what I get for not being a little bit more specific. Funny, huh?
Okay, the chuckles have been fun today. They feel as good as anything else we've done.
Right? All right, so we will see you next week. Next week will be the first week in October, so we're back on. And I'm just going to run another 2 minutes, and I'm going to close my camera off and let it run. If you feel like receiving for the couple minutes, do so. If not, close your camera off. And I love you all, and thank you for being here.
Bye,
Thank you.
everybody.
Love you. See you.
Bye, love you.
All right, here's 3 minutes if you want them.
time